The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Welcome to Journey into the Light, Chapter 2, a program which strives to bring about awareness and awakening, the practice of living in the present to feel joy, to feel reconnected to loved ones and your future. Now, here's your host, Psychic Little T, and Nashville's astrologer, Jennifer Green.
Hi everyone, I am Psychic Little T, and thank you for joining us this week. Our wonderful topic today, well, we have two. One is dream interpretations, and then the second half is going to be embracing spirits of your own spirits that you have around you. So tonight, of course, I have my wonderful host, Jennifer Green, and our wonderful producer, Rock. So,
Hello.
Yeah, and of course, as always, if you want to call in for a free psychic reading, please give us a call at 267-436-4876. We would be happy to answer your questions. So, Jen, tonight we're going to talk the first half about dream interpretations, and it's funny that we decided to talk about this topic because I was told that I had a night terror the other night. I sat up and it looked like this huge spider was walking across my floor, and when I went to focus my eyes, it was gone. And I was like, wow, we're going to be talking about this. So I just thought, I didn't know that it actually had a name until the other day. I don't call it a tremor. I just said, well, you can't stay here or you have to pay rent, because it was like 20 times the size of a regular spider, and that's no exaggeration. It was like humongous, and I don't do spiders. So what do you think with your studies?
Well, hey everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. I have been a dream interpreter most of my life, and I've heard a lot of dreams, and spiders are actually one of the more common insect spiders. Dreaming of spiders, especially one that overly large, that huge of a spider, is usually always saying that there is lots of gossip and rumors, and you have lots of people that are talking, and it's very negative. So it's a warning to be aware of gossip. And usually I advise people don't correct it, because it will bring no justice, no satisfaction. And so it's an energy of gossip, turmoil, people, small-minded people talking about problems. That's what spiders, insect, pest. It's also in the family, I always call it like pests, bugs, or insects. That's what that symbolically means. So it's a warning of to come. To prevent it is to be aware of it and to change the outcome of it.
It's funny that you just said all that. Just so all the listeners know, and you two know, of course there is tons of gossip going on. Everybody at work is talking about everybody. And the other day I finally said, I can't do this anymore. Nothing's changing. It's a bunch of chaos at work. And the upper managements keep changing their head. The managers are going to be fighting one another. But I just shook my head and kept doing what I was doing. But wow, that's crazy.
Dreams are definitely the language of God, and every living thing has dreams. And they're always give us a message. So I remind people that when we dream, we have right at around about 9 minutes after we mentally wake up to remember our dreams down to a T. After that, as much as you say, I can never forget that, I'll remember that, you'll end up probably forgetting it.
3 seconds later.
Yep. So jot it down in the morning, and after you decide to keep a dream journal, there is some people that has a lot of control over their dreams after that. So dreams are definitely messages, and writing down your dreams will give a message to you later on that day or even the next day. I picked out some of the most common dreams that I get a lot of questions about. So we talked about spiders. Spiders is one of them. Snakes is another big one. Dreaming of snakes has more than one meaning. Dreaming of snakes actually is symbolic for money. There is money and fortune awaiting. There's money and unexpected money coming. Although if you get bit by a snake inside your dream, or someone you see getting bit or attacked, usually means that there's illness coming. Dreaming of seeing money inside your dreams, that's another really big one. And it's different than gold or diamonds, but finding actual cash money this is not just gossip, but this is rumors that will bring destruction around inside your home, around people you love. Dreaming of money is symbolic for rumors and words coming into your home, bringing problems. And I'll tell everyone as I finish this how you could actually change the outcomes of your dreams, because everyone can. You don't even need to know magical things or anything. Dreaming of lots of gold and jewelry and diamonds inside your dreams is, I know it in my language. In American, it's interpreted as worry, burden, stress. Stress is causing no sleep. It's a lot of heaviness, usually over the heart. Dreaming of let's see what I have here. Dreaming of water. A lot of people can dream that they are swimming in water, seeing water. And if the water is clear and beautiful, the water is clean. You always have to, when I interpret dreams, I ask them, do you remember where is anything familiar? What else do you remember? The water is clear and beautiful looking. It's a good omen. That's a good sign. It's positive. It's love. It's light. It's healing. But if it is dark and murky and maybe even muddy, that goes again inside the category of possible illness. Eating fish inside your dream, that's not always a good dream either. It's another symbolic sign of illness, sickness. A lot of people has dreams of teeth. May sound a little odd. A lot of people dream of teeth. So you go back to the question, are the teeth healthy? Are they falling? Is it yours? And if the teeth are beautiful and the teeth are healthy, looking white, that of course is a good omen, good sign. But if they are falling, that is definitely not a good sign. It's telling you that someone you know or someone you will hear is soon. Usually it's symbolic for death. It's time for someone to leave. Dreaming of a house, remodeling. So while I'm going through this, if anyone is listening to this and they've had a dream and they need it interpreted, you guys can go ahead and call in and have your reading and have your dream interpreted. 267-436-4876. 267-436-4876. So you guys, before I go on, do you guys have any dreams that maybe you kind of want to share? Maybe I could say the definitions of those. Rob, maybe? T?
I never remember my
dreams I really have are things that actually come true. People being pregnant.
Yeah.
No, but my question is this really has nothing to do with dreams, but when I have money coming in that I'm not aware of, my right hand itches. Mm-hmm. If I lose money, say I rang up a customer wrong at work, my left hand will itch, and within that hour, I'll make that mistake. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, is this more subconscious now? And I'm like, okay.
That's spiritual message. That's spiritual messages. We know it's symbolic. When your hand itches, when your right hand itches, you're gonna get some money. And usually, the custom is to kiss your hand and rub it on top of your head. If your left hand starts itching, you will lose money, and usually you're supposed to lightly spit on your hand for it not to happen.
Oh, I'll have to try that next time.
Yep. So if you're having some dreams like jewelry, gold, money. You've dreamt of all that. Shoes is another one. Trying lots of shoes is also that's very. Those are all in the category of very negative people around you, malicious. So to fulfill the dream, so it doesn't come true in that way, the definition of it, the person would go and say, if they dreamt of jewelry, put a whole bunch of jewelry on. If they've dreamt of money, actually put money inside their pocket, manifest it. You manifest it physically before it manifests itself in the physical form, in the form it will. If you're having a lot of nightmares.
Hold on, Jen. Shock, do you have a question? It feels like you have a question brewing.
Yep.
No, I'm just thinking that most of the dreams that I seem to have been having for the past several years is of me working.
You're working inside your sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on a project somewhere. Last night I dreamt that I had met up with a bunch of contractors and we were on our way to another on-site job. But I'm always working.
What are you doing inside your dream?
So what I do in work. I mean, it's not like I do a different job. It's not like I'm building bridges or anything. I'm doing the same thing that I really do. And I don't want to do that. I want to dream of the Caribbean, lying on a hammock, being swayed by a gentle breeze. I don't want to dream I'm working.
Well, Rock, I do have a divine message for you to fix that. and the fact that you are an artist, I think you would take it very well. You need to manifest what you desire, to see it. And I would tell you to paint it or draw it, sketch it out. If you truly want to work on an island in the Caribbean with a drink in your hands, your hair swaying in the breeze, paint a picture of it. Physically to manifest it inside this life. Dreaming of you going to work for years, your spirit feels trapped. Your spirit feels like you can't get out. You can't escape. There's no escape.
And my spirit is right. Because I've got too many responsibilities. Too many people moved into my house and expect me to pay all the bills.
Well, that's not good. But that's why the Caribbean sounds even better.
Yeah, well, my luck, they would all show up there.
So you gotta switch it. You gotta switch it around. That's why I tell people you gotta switch your mental focus. So if that's what you're dreaming of, that's because you're feeling captured. Like this is it. There's nothing else. And so much where it went inside your deep subconscious where it's always there. So drawing a picture, painting a picture, having it somewhere visual for you to see it with your eyes. Taking a minute when you look at it to actually visualize how it would feel if I would be there would change the way how your direction of energy is going. I know it sounds maybe a little odd, but it is very powerful. And if you have a dream you really don't need to come to manifest, get a book of matches. And to light a book of matches, don't look back, but throw them over your right shoulder.
While they're lit?
Walk away. All lit, yes. Light them up, throw them over your right shoulder, and don't look back.
Usually over my right shoulder is where my wife is laying. Is that a good thing?
You want your life to go on a new path.
I don't think she'd probably scream when she saw the matches coming at her.
And then the last one I got, if you have a dream and it stood with you, it bothered you, need to get it off of you, is getting, and I know it sounds a little bizarre, but all these little remedies are bizarre. Get a shot of whiskey and pour it outside. And it's symbolic. You're doing it to satisfy the spirit realm. Instead of giving you these thoughts, you give it back to the earth.
Some people would say that was alcohol abuse.
Haha. If they have great love for it, yeah.
Can somebody
It's alcohol.
control their dreams to the point of them being lucid? I had
Yes.
a lucid dream one time where I was aware that while I was dreaming, I was dreaming, and I could do anything I wanted.
It's an amazing gift. It is a gift and a talent. And over the years, people tell me they practice this and they'll come in to say, I don't want to do it no more. I'm not enjoying my dreams anymore. It takes so much of their time and energy to study their dream and to have the focus level to control their dream. Absolutely. But it's not very often, very gifted. But all the people that I've met, not one of them told me otherwise, that in time, they have regretted it because they don't know how to stop it and they're not enjoying it no more. So I think it goes, I think,
Well, I think
I
one lucid dream in 69 years, I could probably handle another.
yeah, absolutely.
It's not like, one lucid dream in almost 70 years. It's like, hey, this is getting to be a habit.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing to hear that.
Yeah, it was. It
because
was
you don't
great. It
hear
was
often.
only one time.
That is amazing.
Okay, Jen, what about when you're dreaming that you're falling off a cliff?
Oh, I
And
know
then
what that
you
one is.
jump out of, you could be in a dead sleep and then you just jump up because you're falling off that cliff.
So it has nothing to do about you falling in life at all. You had an out of body experience, and your spirit went back inside your body and caught itself. So inside your mind, in your dream, it is felt as if you was falling. Maybe in a spiritual way you was, but that's what has happened to you. You had an out of body experience. Your spirit left your body, and the only thing you remember is falling, and you're literally catching your stomach, and that even sometimes getting you up, grabbing your stomach like you lost your stomach for a minute.
It was just every time I had that dream, it would scare the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there's a lot
thought.
there's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of theories on that. One theory being is that if you're falling, or if you're in a train and the train's going over a cliff, or if you're in an airplane and you fall out, that you're fine unless in your dream you actually hit bottom, then you die. As long as you wake up before you hit. Now, it's not my theory. This is what I read. But that's what they say, that if you actually hit the ground, you will die. And that's why we always wake up before we hit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true it is, but I did read that years and years and years ago.
I do believe there's some truth in that, because it is, as long as we've ever done this, I have never heard anyone dream that they actually died. They dreamed that they've got attacked, they was, on the verge of death, but actually seeing yourself die, I've yet to hear. So if you have had a dream where you actually died in your dream, please call us, because I love to pick your brain to hear that, because no one, I've heard that it is, it's almost impossible to dream that you have actually died. So if you had this dream, I'd be very curious to pick your head. 267-436-4876. Have you guys ever heard of anyone dying inside your dreams?
No.
No?
Nope.
Rock?
Nope.
No.
Never heard anybody actually hit.
No. We can find dead people inside our dreams. One of my dreams was, I had a reoccurring dream for probably about, maybe 10 months. And I had a nightmare of a dream, and I would dream that I was watching, or I was able to see how my biological mom passed away. And it was very, very horrific because she was murdered. Very, very horrific. So I kept seeing that for many months. And then I got fed up and I told her, I said, look, if you're going to come visit me and this is what you want to show me, just stop. Just don't even come around anymore because it's not very good to see it. And the message was, and eventually revealed itself, was that I needed to get out of where I was at because it was not safe where I was at. And that was the answer of it. So when the spirit has a sign to give us, a message to give us, it will stay because we are stubborn until we listen to it.
Marla's in the chat room. She says she had an elderly neighbor that had a dream that she died and woke up in a panic. And the next night, she died for real.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yep. I would say that her spirit actually had to leave then because I've never heard that before. Her spirit actually left and the next day she did.
Wow. The only thing I had similar to that is when I was on the previous show, a little boy attached himself to me, and it was the longest 4 days of my life until I was able to talk to the family and give them messages from him. He was 7 years old. He died in a boating accident, and he made me relive every night the boating accident until I said, "You can stay, but stop showing me that." I'll give you the shorter version of it. I saw him flipping up in the air, and I woke up and I said, "I don't want to see the end result. I already know what's going to happen." So again, the next night it replayed, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you one more time. I don't want to see the actual end result." So he finally abided by it, but he was a ball of energy. Every time I tried to shut the spiritual door, he would open it and go, "Peekaboo." And I told coworkers, I said, I need some toothpicks in my eye so I can keep my eyes open. Every time I shut my eyes, I would see him.
I didn't want to close my eyes. I was deadly afraid to close my eyes. So I understand it. That was one of, I had a reading 3 times in my life, and that was the second time that I went and I searched for a reading. And I only got it because the lady searched for me the year before. So I had her phone number.
Oh, wow.
And I told her to dream, and she knew exactly. She said, your mom is giving you a message that you need to go. You need to leave where you're at because your partner is the danger. It's them.
Right.
Not knowing anything, my situation on your mom's death, and there's a lot of people's talking about it, and it was. And it just was a if anyone is actually curious, it is a very true story. It's on CNN. My mom was a spiritualist, psychic, and she was actually murdered up in Denver, Colorado. Not for her practice, but for her abusive boyfriend. This is where the abuse comes in. We've had this conversation a few times on the radio.
Wait, I gotta say this. Excuse me, Jen. I don't mean to interrupt. I don't know if this is for you, Jen, or if this is for a listener, but the name Maria is coming through. So whoever this is for, my left eye is starting to tear up. She wants you to call in so she can talk to you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, spirits are taking over.
Hey, that's what we got to follow. So if anyone has a Maria close to their heart, they need to call in. Dreams are very important. That's basically what I was coming to. So if you have a dream, it stood on your mind, it stood in your heart, there's a message for it, there's a reason for it. And I will recommend a book for anyone who's listening. If no one has read The Alchemist, I strongly advise you check it out. The Alchemist is about a dream. It's by Paulo Coelho. Amazing, amazing book, and it's about the power of a dream and finding your personal legend. And the amazing part is everyone who reads that book will all have a different sense of outcome than the last person. It's really phenomenal. So start writing down your dreams. They're giving you guys messages. It's time for us to just listen to them.
And if you don't know what they mean, find the meaning or call Jen. She's the interpreter. I'm sure with nowadays, there's almost everything on Google.
I don't know how much of the stuff that I said I shared on Google. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's there. And if you guys can't find it, you guys can call me and go on my website. You can get my name and number, epicgen.com. Easy enough to remember.
So let me real quick kind of update. I don't know the new listeners, the old listeners. We've been talking the last couple of weeks about my son getting a job and keeping it. He completed his second day of work with no sleep. He did the full 8-hour shift and had to walk home. It took him an hour. And then he said he came home, he took his clothes off, put his pajamas on, and passed out. So, he says that the job is okay, but the money's really good. And we went up there today, and they told him to come in Saturday because he was not on the new schedule yet. So I said, get the 25 hours. That's the amount that he's making. He's like, wow, Mom, that's a lot of money. I was like, that's what I've been telling you. He's like, well, it's better than Burger King. And I just laughed. And I said, a job is a job right now. There's so many people on unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's young and thinks he knows everything. So, yes.
I'm glad to hear that.
And a couple weeks ago, it might have been a couple months ago, how we talked about Junior, my male cat, that had passed away. And Nathan was really, really, really anxious about the whole job thing. And he's like, Mom, I think Junior's here. He's very intuitive, too, for all the listeners out there. And he got real quiet, and I looked at him, and I saw a tear running out of his eye. He's not a crier. And I was like, what's wrong? He's like, I was just hit with a wave of emotions. I was like, oh, okay. So we went cat hunting, and every time we tried to take a picture, the spirit would zoom past. So I didn't get any evidence, which I was really shocked about. So, yeah, Junior made him feel better, and then I had told him that another pet had came through that we've never met, but somebody else had brought him over, and it was a dog. I was like, it was Marley. And he just laughed, and it made him feel better, so he was able to get through his day.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break. Put the offer out there. Write the phone number down, 267-436-4876. That's 267-436-4876. Have you had a recurring dream? Something you'd like to talk about? Recurring dream, the same dream over and over again for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nights, or maybe you're still having it. Give us a call. Tell us about it. We'll be right back.
Rat, where are you going?
I'm going back to the paranormal view, back where I belong.
Please, take me with you.
No, I'm through with everything here. I want to see if there's something left in life I haven't explored. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Rat, don't run to them. They talk about ghosts and hauntings, UFOs, and all kind of supernatural scary stuff.
You'll never understand, will you, Scarlet?
No!
Well, that's your misfortune.
Rat, if you go, where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear... Line!
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
That's the Paranormal View with your host, Henry Foister, Jeffrey Gould, and Barbara Duncan. Every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Para X Radio Network.
Starting August 9th, it's Double the Cauldron, double the back hours of Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks. First, at 8 p.m., Para X digs into the vault to bring you an encore edition of Stirring the Cauldron. That's 10 years worth of amazing guests, interesting subjects, and all the fun from your favorite show. Then at 9 p.m., ParaX presents an all-new hour of Stirring the Cauldron as Marla explores the paranormal realm with brand new topics and all-new guests. It's double the cauldron, double the fun as ParaX presents back-to-back hours of Stirring the Cauldron with Marla Brooks. And it all begins 8 p.m. Thursday, August 9th, right here on the ParaX Radio Network.
And tonight on her archive podcast, her guest will be Savannah Arietta. And Barry and Connie Strom will be joining her for the live show at 9 p.m. That's tonight on Stirring the Cauldron. You know, it's a funny thing.
What's that, sir?
Well, that Rock with a Shock is on the same time every Friday and Saturday night.
So we don't find that funny. We find that just a fact. The facts, that's all we find that as. And Slick, I'm going to tell you this one time and one time only. It's 7 to 9 every Friday and Saturday night. That's 7 to 9 Eastern Time every Friday and Saturday night on Rock with a Shock Radio at www.rockwithashock.com. You got that, Slick? You got that? Rock with a Shock, playing the greatest hits of the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s every Friday and Saturday night, 7 to 9 p.m. on rockwithashock.com.
All right, we are back at, what was that? Somebody just fall? Journey into the Light, Chapter 2, with your host, Psychic Little T and Nashville's astrologer Jennifer Green.
Welcome back, everybody. So now, let's get to the good part. Well, my good part. Okay. Not that I'm cocky or anything, you know. So Jenna's going to ask myself and Shock about our paranormal experiences, like when we first found out and all that good stuff. So go ahead, Jen, fire away.
Okay, so I'm about to pick your guys' brains, and for all the listeners out there to understand a little bit more about the paranormal and what it is to discover your gift and how to use it. Because I absolutely do believe you guys have a gift, and I know it is a gift, a divine gift, to see spirits and connect with the spiritual realm. So my first question is, when was your very first spiritual experience, possibly maybe even acknowledging to you that you had psychic abilities?
I had mentioned last week that the first time that I remember, I was about 6 years old, and we were leaving my grandparents' house to go home, and my mom put us in the car and said, "Do not lean on the car door." What do? You know, we lived about 15, 20 minutes from Grandma and Pop's house, and I'm like, that's forever, I'm going to sleep. And I leaned on the door. Next thing I know is I'm waking up on my grandparents' floor. But before all that, in between falling out onto the cement, I remember vivid, like it was yesterday or today. I can tell you, I was going down a corridor. It was like a hospital corridor. It was pitch black. It had black spirits saying, "She's mine, and trying to grab at me. And I hear, "Just look at the light, just look at the light." And I'm holding on to the stretcher, the bed stretcher, the hospital beds. And I'm like, I'm scared. So I get to the end, and it was like my dad was hugging me. The energy was 1,000 times different. It was a warm, loving, bright light, like brighter than the sun. And I know a lot of people can't see that happening, but that's the only way that I could explain it. And I feel that the glimpse that I got of heaven, it was beautiful. Whether it was heaven or not, I don't know. But I'll find out one day. Mm-hmm. So that was my first experience.
So when did you start realizing that you were psychic?
Well, that's been a long process in itself. I have seen spirits. And again, I thought a blanket would save me from them because I would put it over my head and say, I'm going back to sleep. It never worked. We lived in Trenton, New Jersey, and there was 4 eyes in the corner. They were red eyes, and again, in my opinion, they felt like demons. I was about 10 years old. I never said anything to anybody until later, and my brother thought that I was crazy. My brother needs to see it. My older brother, let me rephrase that, needs to see everything. He believes in science, and he doesn't believe in the paranormal. And I'm like, all right, well, if he doesn't believe me, I'm not telling anybody else because they're not going to believe me. And at this point, I didn't know that my dad was having experiences here and there too. Again, I didn't tell anybody. He was on another show and they had psychics on, and I'm curious, so I went to support him, and I called in and said, when am I ever going to meet the man of my dreams before I'm old and gray? They laughed and said, we get this question a lot. And then the one psychic said, are you one of us? And I said, is this a trick question? I didn't know that it had a name. I just knew that I saw things people didn't. I knew that I felt things people didn't. And when I would say, I don't like this person, but I don't know why, whether it was 6 months down the line or whether it was 2 years down the line, I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't like that person. So finally, when they put a title on it, I was like, oh. So then the one psychic's like, you should be doing this full time. So I was like a speedboat. I was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. It's been a long road of, okay, I want to do this full time, but it's just not happening the way that I want it. But just for all the listeners to know, I was going to church 3 times a week. I was praying, I was doing this, and then the church found out and told me that I was completely wrong. That it stated, and I don't remember, I know it's in Deuteronomy in the King James Version, but it says being a psychic is wrong. But on the other hand, it also says do not judge, there's only one judge. So I figured, and this is again just my opinion, if I'm a sinner, then I'll find out when I get to heaven that I was completely wrong, but I truly believe we all have this ability because when you have faith in God, how does God talk to your heart? You have to be spiritual. And again, how do mothers know when their babies are hungry, when they need a diaper change?
Exactly.
There's different cries, and a lot of men can't figure it out. They're like, well, the baby's crying, why? Well, the baby has a bellyache. How do you know that? I just know it. There's no other way of explaining
God's magic.
it. Yeah.
I call it God's magic.
So that's kind of how I got it. So. Good.
So it was after your near-death experience that at least it sounds like that your gifts, I call them gifts, awakened, or something awakened, and that moment changed you. Correct?
A lot. It was kind of like a Jack in a Box. That's the only way that I could explain it. When you go and the song plays and you're waiting for the Jack in the Box to pop up, and when it finally pops up, you jump. Well, at least I did. And yes, when I finally accepted it, the doors just like plowed open. And it got to the point even now, I cannot go to, say, a Goodwill store or another consignment store and pick up items. Because if a spirit is attached, I will feel it. I will, for instance, I had went to this one Goodwill store, not even thinking anything. I was like, oh, these shoes are cute. I picked them up. My son just happened to be walking back over and says, Mom, are you okay? I said, no, I'm about to pass out. I have to get out of here. Put the shoes
Mm-hmm.
down. I was completely fine. And of course, it being a consignment store, I'll never know who them people are.
Yeah. No. No.
So I keep my hands to myself now.
um. So, Rock, how about the same question? When did you kind of feel that you realized that you had I want to call it almost like a higher conscious level than
Yeah,
average
but,
people?
or what I want to call it is that you become aware of your guardian angels, guardian ancestors. You have several. I was in a playground first. I don't know. I guess I was about 13 years old, and I picked up. I was throwing things for the dog to go run, and it's a big Irish setter named Reds, and I picked up a stick and threw my arm back to throw it, and something inside my head. I didn't hear it audibly, but there was a voice inside. People call it their third eye. Well, I call it the inner ear. I heard someone say, if you throw this stick, there's a nail sticking out of it, and you're going to rip your thumb wide open. Well, I didn't listen. I threw the stick anyway, and sure enough, I ripped my thumb open from the heel all the way up to the end. There was about a 2.5-inch gash all the way down to the bone. My father had taught me years ago the art of butterfly taping rather than stitching. So I didn't want to tell my parents that I did something that stupid. So I went into the bathroom and I washed the wound out really good. And I closed it up with butterfly stitches. And it healed. The inner dermis healed very quickly within 24 hours. And then it took about a week or so for the upper dermis to actually close over. But at that moment, at that event, I knew that there was somebody with me and that I better start listening to that voice. And there had been other experiences after that, like I was swimming underneath a boat. We used to swim underneath rowboats that were tied to the pier where we went down to the shore every summer. And I swam underneath the boat and I got stuck. And I knew I was stuck on a nail and I just couldn't get off. I'm swimming and I'm getting it, running out of air, and I'm beginning to panic. And that voice said, swim backwards. And I'm listening this time. Swam backwards, came right off the nail, came up for air. On a motorcycle, sitting at a red light, 1975. The light turned green. I started to go. That voice said, wait, don't go. So I sat there at the green light. Had I gone, the tractor trailer that came up around the corner, blind corner, and ran its red light would have mowed me down. So, yes, listen to the voice. Now, is that, what Tammy's talking about, picking up items? That's called psychometry, where you pick something up and you pick up the energy. There may be an attachment, or it just may be residual energy on that item. There are people that get full-blown images when they pick up something. I don't.
Yep.
I just learned to, and we all have that voice. We all have that. You're driving up the freeway and something says, slow down, there's a cop ahead. Listen to it. It's not you.
Yes.
It's something warning you. Okay.
So how do you,
Wow, two at once.
hey.
No, I was going to say,
Go ahead, Tammy.
just for all the listeners, a couple of years ago, my appendix, they called it perforation, which is, there was little pinholes, and my appendix was leaking out toxins. And I was viciously sick for 3 days. And I called my niece. I said, look, I need to go to the doctors. And I'm not one to go to the doctors, literally, unless I'm on my deathbed. And I go to the doctors, and he's like, oh, you're dehydrated. Go to the ER. They'll give you some fluids. I'm like, okay. I walk in there, and I'm just getting sick and sick. Sitting in the lobby for an hour. They finally take me back. Doctor comes in and says, I think it's your appendix. And at this point, I'm exhausted for 3 days. I can't hold anything down. I can't. You could have told me that I was dying. I'd have been like, okay. And he comes back and he's like, your appendix is perforating. I was like, Doc, can you put that in English for me? He's like, you're going in for emergency C-section tomorrow at 2. I was like,
C-section?
you
Wait,
need to let
whoa.
my family come here.
Hold it.
Huh?
When your appendix bursts, they generally don't give you a C-section.
Yeah. I already had a couple of them, so what's one more? So they put me on antibiotics. They put me on IV. So they gave me morphine. And it just literally took the pain away. I was able to sit up. I got in trouble for taking a little sip, just enough to wet my mouth because it was so dry. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we went in. They said, all right, you're going in for surgery. I said, great. My family was there. I said, let's do this. So I go into the operating room. They put me under. And they're like, oh, it's going to take, 30 minutes. No problem. So I come out of surgery. They're waking me up. I'm thinking it's a half hour later. There was a note from my pastor that had some nice words on it, and then it said, you really scared me. Had no idea at this point that the surgery actually took 3 hours because my appendix decided to split in 3 different directions. And all that toxic that was in my appendix was leaking out, literally pushed out into my body now. So a week goes by, I finally get out of the hospital. The symptoms start all over again. I said to my mom, I need to go back to the hospital. She's like, no, you're fine. Just take this and just take that. I was like, Mom, the smell of food, like a soda, was making me gag. So we go back to the hospital. I'm readmitted. They tell me that there's an infection on my pelvis. So I was in the hospital for another week. And all I kept saying is, God just didn't want me yet. There's a reason why I'm here. And I share this story often because I hope that it helps somebody else. That when God's ready, that's when He's ready. But I still have some work to do down here for whatever reason. Which I'm grateful for. So yeah. That's some of my experiences.
Sounds like you're a miracle to me, Tammy.
Yeah, I was sitting there the other day working, and I'm typing. I type about 85 words a minute, and I use 10-key calculator by touch. I don't need to look at the numbers, and I'm just typing away, thinking, boy, I tell you, my father, if he were here right now, I could see me do this. And that voice came into my head at that instant and said, wait till you see what you can do here.
Wow. It's funny that you just happened to mention him. Because, again, we were at the Goodwill the other day, and Nathan picks up this box. And he's like, Mom, look at this. It was an old typewriter.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought about Pop instantly. I was like, wow, he must be here.
Signs come in all different type of shapes and sizes. So my question for both of you now is, at least I know for myself, and I'm still going to ask, do you believe it is easier to listen to your gut instinct now? Like, is it something, is it part of your lifestyle? I guess that's what I want to ask. Is it your lifestyle now? Could you see yourself living without listening to it? Or is it something that you know that you must listen to because you know it's always right? Like, how do you feel about it?
I absolutely depend on it every day.
See, I'm a little bit more hard-headed. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way. But For the most part, I listen. Again, there was another, like Shock was saying, the instinct kicked in. I was coming home one night. It was Christmas time, I believe, from their house, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm almost home, and just the road that I take, it's 25 miles an hour, and the road is like 3 miles long. So I'm just kind of, okay, let the light change before I get there, and my foot gradually went off the gas pedal. And next thing I see is this car from the opposite way flying through the red light. And I went, wow, thank you, God, for saving my life. Because if I had been going at the 25 miles an hour, he would have plowed right into me. And he was doing, I kid you not, like 60 miles an hour.
I call it divine protection, and it absolutely exists.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yes.
I truly believe that.
So I have a question for Rock again. Rock, how many years was you seeing the spiritual realm, or should I say, listening to your gut, that you decided that you wanted to? I don't know if I should say hunt it, search it, look for it, and for some of the people that is not familiar with it, UNT goes. Should I call it ghost hunting?
Paranormal investigation?
Paranormal investigation.
I had stayed away from it for a good number of years because of a real bad experience that I had. I just avoided it, and these shows became more and more popular on television, and it was more of a technical thing, more of a scientific side to it, where I was watching the shows and listening to their EVPs. And every EVP that I heard, and having spent so many years in radio, behind a microphone and in the editing studio, I knew that there was not one EVP they played that I couldn't duplicate in a studio. Not one. I could duplicate any of them. So I had to go out myself with my own recorder and see. And the first experience out there, I got some. When I went back to the motel, because I was in Atlanta, Georgia, went to the motel room and listened to the tape or the recordings that I had done, because I let the recorder run the whole night I was walking. And the voices that came over that recording, off of my recorder, with no outside assistance, interference, or input, it was just me and the recorder in the cemetery. And I knew at that point that there was something more to it. So that's what really fired me up.
Wow. And you've been in it ever since?
Yep.
So what was one of the most I want to say, most amazingest things you guys discovered doing that?
You mean with she and I together, or on my own?
Well, let's say both.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Take that one. So I want to know too.
The Shanley, the Shanley, not the Stanley, the Shanley Hotel up in Napanoch, New York. I had a camera set up on the third floor, and the camera, with nobody up on the third floor, slid across the floor all by itself. There's a spirit up there named Joe who doesn't apparently like anybody being in his domain. But I left the camera there pointed at a window. It was night. It was very dark. And when we came home and watched the DVD, or the DVR rather, the recordings, if you imagine light coming to the window, and a picture developing, like a black and white picture, you can make out water which looks like a river in between two concrete embankments, with buildings with tops to them and flags, like it's medieval, a period of medieval time in England. And it was just developed right in front of our eyes. as we watched this. And then it faded back away to a black window. And we looked at the time on it. It was at 9:30 at night till 10:30 at night. There was no sunlight, no lights, no cars. We're in the middle of nowhere. And it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
We got a peek into time.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's what it looks like. The other weird thing that I saw that wasn't my video was somebody had left the camera in the basement. It was at a location in Ohio. And they showed me the tape, and it's like the wall just opens up, and a guy steps out of what looks like a lit doorway where there is no door, and he's wearing a costume. Well, the outfit that he was wearing looks like it was from the 1700s. And he stepped out of this door, which opened up at his command, and he walked around the stairwell, and then saw the camera, ducked back into the wall, and the light, it just like slapped shut, and it all became dark again.
Sounds like some spooky stories.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't scary. None of this was scary. It was just like, whoa, did you see that? Of course, when it's on DVR, you can watch it again and again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's amazing. Tammy, how about you?
So,
I think that's so fascinating.
2 quick stories. One, I remember in the Southern
make it real quick.
we were down in Ocean City.
We got 3 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be real quick.
Okay.
We were doing an investigation, and you hear this girl say, ow. And we're like, what? And mind you, everything is black. Nobody can see anybody. We turned on the flashlight, and she had scratches on her arm. So, I mean, people could say that she did it to herself or that a spirit did it. But that's one thing that really sticks out in my mind. Another one is we were doing another investigation somewhere else, and my dad had got EVPs. He was sick as a dog that time, and he wasn't with us, but he was recording, and we did a show. Somebody else did a show. I was listening, and you hear on the EVPs a ghost tell me to F off.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wow. Because another one said, is that Tammy? And then you hear F Tammy. I was like, what did I ever do to you? But,
Yeah, some of them can be very nasty. We've gotten some of that language at Fort Mifflin in Philadelphia. But, hey, everybody, tell the folks where they can get in touch with you at. We got a minute and a half. We got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jen, go ahead.
Hey guys, I am Jennifer Green, Nashville's astrologer. You can get a hold of me for a reading, have a breakthrough session. My website is epicgen.com. My phone number is 615-07. That's 615-944-9707. I'm more than happy to help you, whether it is about your dream, making a breakthrough within yourself, but most of all to find peace. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, everybody. I am Psychic Little T. You can reach me at 609-320-7912, or you can go to my website, psychiclittlet.com. And I just want to give a special shout out to people in Canada, the U.S., and China for checking my website out.
Yay.
All right, thanks so much for listening, guys. We will see you next week, same time, same place, right here on the Para X Radio Network. Remember, things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Tune in again next week from 7 till 8 p.m. Eastern for another exciting and unpredictable episode of Journey into the Light, Chapter 2, right here on the Para X Radio Network.